Welcome you all to another video by Stan's Auto Repair. Apology for a little bit of shaky and movement of the camera, but I'm actually driving and you're getting the shakiness from the road, the vehicle, and whatnot. But today I'm just going to be talking about the loves and hates of a PT Cruiser. For the most part, I pretty much love the PT Cruiser in the sense of it's a good, reliable vehicle. I've not had any much trouble out of it other than the transmission at one point. You know, thank God it had limp mode, so I was actually able to get home. It didn't leave me stranded. It never has left me stranded since I've owned it. And other than that, it gets me going when I need it, especially when like I'm getting on the highway and I need some acceleration quick. I love how the transmission has some little performance boost in it. I might have to do a video on that, showing how that's actually done. So this vehicle, since I've owned it, I've done a lot with it. I've went mudding in it, which was fun. A lot of people laughed at me till they actually seen me mudding in the PT Cruiser, and they're in their big Jeeps. And here I am in a PT Cruiser. So it gained respect out in the mud with the mudders. A lot of them didn't expect that. A lot of people don't know that PT Cruisers, if you know how to handle it, they can actually do a whole lot of stuff that you wouldn't expect. Another thing, I've hauled quite a lot of in it. I've hauled lumber beams. I've done a lot of scrap running. Most weight I've ever had in the back end with the seats out is 587 pounds. And it only with that much weight, it only acted like I had the AC on. Because when the AC is on, you do lose a little bit of horsepower. But other than that, the transmission definitely, the overdrive in the transmission definitely did kick in and help with smooth takeoffs, like I was driving with just the back seats in it. The other thing, it turns pretty good. It has real good sharp turn radius and all that. But the one thing I really do dislike about the PT Cruiser is when the back seats are removed from the vehicle, it doesn't seem to matter how much good your tires are. It doesn't matter if they're made for the rain or the snow or whatever. Like I said, she definitely can go. But one thing that I don't like though is out here in Tennessee in the hills, the mountains, when the roads are wet, they have an oil slick on them, so they're pretty oily. And when the back seats are in it, or there's any weight, it's quite easy to get. I don't slip around as much, but when I take those back seats out, Lord of mercy, the back end just likes to bounce around, slide, and all I can tell you is if I didn't have any kind of training when it comes to racing and defensive driving, there's been times that this car would have been in a ditch or rolling down a mountain. So I just thank God that I have that training. That's about the only thing I really hate other than the engine compartment. I will say that is one of the worst things I've ever done, is having to work on certain parts in the engine. But one beautiful thing I can say is if you take the grill off, you take the bumper off the front, and you take all the radiator housing stuff, it all bolts right off. You got pretty good access to the front of the engine via if the radiator's out of the way. But one of the headaches I had was changing the upper motor mount. That was a pain, and the arse. I'll just say it. Getting tools in there that I would normally use on a Neon, same setup, same size tools, same everything you would need to change the upper mount in a Neon, but the room is just not there, and there's really no way to make it any easier. You can't like remove this or that part just to do it. It's like so tied up next to the strut housing, it's just crazy. And that's my biggest complaint. Other than that, these vehicles have gotten a lot of crap. They've gotten a lot of hate. I mean, a lot of people call them the PT losers, and I don't understand. As you can see in my odometer, there's no engine check light. I had an engine check light on for a code 700, turned out to be code 704, which was the fluid pump regulator, which is on top of the transmission right next to the input-output sensors. So I had that replaced, and the input-output sensors were replaced, and bam, transmission's working just like it did from day one out off the factory line. So my only thing is if your PT Cruiser is giving you a lot of hell, question is, how often do you do basic maintenance on it? How often do you change out the parts before they go bad? Do you drive it until it starts acting up, or do you fix it before it acts up? And some people said to me, well, how do I know how to do that? Well, number one, you have a maintenance log. If you still have it if you still have the owner's manual and all the paperwork, you have a maintenance log. Also, another way to check what your maintenance is due for your car, you can download the My Carfax app and then put in your license plate or your VIN number to your PT Cruiser, and it will give you everything you need. And it will tell you right down there, maintenance. If you're not for sure, you can always get the service manual for the vehicle. You can contact your dealership. They should be able to either get you a copy if they still can, or you can ask them, your car is at so many miles, what could be done? Because I'll tell you right now, there's a certain time, there's so many miles that you should have certain things checked, like your steering linkage is for one thing at a certain amount of miles. Changing your oil at the correct time all the time will give you better engine performance and engine longevity. Also, a certain amount of mileage, the timing belt and water pump gets changed. So if you do that, then you're not going to have to worry about, say, the timing belt busting and then possibly bending valves, and now your valve body's damaged, or your water pump gasket starts leaking because there's so many high mileage on it and it's never been replaced, and it leaks all over the belt, which causes the belt to get wet, and then the timing belt slips off, and then there you go again. You damage the engine. And also, it always goes to say, having your car worked on at a shady mechanic or a backyard mechanic that really doesn't know his ass in the end from a ratchet to a screwdriver will definitely do harm in the long run. So make sure you know if your mechanic knows what he's doing. And also learn what's being done, so you have a basic understanding of what's being done to your vehicle, so you know it's been fixed or not. Because I don't know how many times I've seen people taking their cars and they went in for tie rods and they drive off and their car's still doing the same thing, when the mechanic at that not car dealership, but the mechanic at the backyard mechanic, the only thing they did was spray paint cleaned them up and spray painted them to make them look new. So people do that. People get oil changes at wrong places. Like one thing I'll say is, never ever take your car to Walmart. Out of respect to privacy and where I live, I'm cutting the camera down because we all know there's crazy folks out there, but I don't need a bunch of people running up to my house. My girlfriend's not too comfortable with it. But other than that, as I've always said, you want your car to run a long time, learn how to work on it yourself, and learn to know what they're doing. But other than that, that's the things I love about the PT Cruiser and the things I hate. I mean, there's probably a whole lot more stuff I like about it, but all I can say is the PT Cruiser is pretty close to the Dodge Stratus and the Dodge Neon when it comes to stuff. So the things I love about the Neon and the PT Cruiser are pretty similar. The only difference is in the Neon I can't haul things like I haul in here. I call this my little power wagon, my little truck. And other than that, I do just want to say thanks to all the subscribers. Thank you all for watching, and I would say supporting the channel, but you do support the channel by watching my vehicle videos and watching and commenting, and I do appreciate that, because the more you watch, the more you comment, the more you like, the more you subscribe, gets me closer to that goal that YouTube has pretty much set for everybody that's under 1,000 subscribers and doesn't have a high view time, so they can actually have monetized videos, so they can actually make income from the ads. That was taken away from me, so that's slowed down a lot of repairs, especially on Hummingbird there, because a lot of the money I got from YouTube went to Hummingbird so I could make videos. Well, can't really do that now, and like I've always said, I'm not going to really sit here and ask you all hardworking folks out there that watch these videos to send me money, because that's just, I don't do this for the love of money. I do it to help you all and make you all capable of fixing your own vehicle, so you don't have to go pay the $89 an hour labor fee just to swap out a fuse because you got a blown fuse. One example is the power outlet in the Dodge Neon. That goes out sometimes. It burns out. That fuse is very common for going out. A lot of people don't know where that fuse is located. So one of my highest viewing videos is that location on that specific vehicle, the second generation Neon, for that power outlet fuse. So videos like that I honestly thought was next to nothing and really just no importance turned out to be very important to Neon owners. So it's stuff like that I like to put out. For an example, for another example is the instrument cluster not working in a PT Cruiser. I had a guy comment and we kind of figured things out, what he needed, and between him reaching out to me, I was able to help him locate the fuse that actually functions the lighting of the instrument cluster panel, the lighting of the radio, and the function of your dome light, which is all controlled by this switch right here and a fuse located in there. So the same fuse is in the Neon, but it doesn't practically run everything like it does in a PT Cruiser. So there's a lot of similarities with this vehicle and how it functions with the electrical wise, and a lot of similars with the PT Cruiser. They're pretty much brother and sister when it comes to vehicle, other than the body design. But other than that, so much on the Neon can be interchanged on the PT Cruiser. So if you have a junk Neon and you have a PT Cruiser, you can use parts on this vehicle for this vehicle. Without going to say, again, thank you all for watching, and thank you for subscribing. I'm getting up to 500 subscribers. Once I reach that, I'm trying to still figure out something I can give for having a 500 subscribers, and I'll pick out of all my subscribers that I have, I'll pick randomly. One of you guys will receive something. I'm not 100% for sure what. I really don't want to do the same thing that every other YouTuber out there has done. Everybody seems to like it, but a lot of people also complain about it. So I'm not 100% for sure what I'll give out, but I'll give something in appreciation. Because without you guys, I really wouldn't be doing this. Because if nobody watched my videos, there would be no point in making videos. So thanks again for liking and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, just like everybody's always said, down there in the description box is a subscribe button. You don't really need to hit that bell for notifications with my videos unless you really want to see every video I do. But the subscribe button's there, the like, dislike button's located over there. Hit either one, I don't care, it doesn't hurt me. I love the likes. The dislikes are just as good, but sometimes funny, especially the comments that some people leave. I really like it when they leave a comment that's pretty derogatory and mean, but then 2 seconds later they delete it. I mean, it's kind of hilarious. I don't get insulted with anybody says, because no matter what you think, you may do it better, but to the other person, this may be the best way and the easiest way for them to do it, because not everybody has the money to fork out to actually fix their vehicle like everybody else. But if you slowly just keep changing the parts that's going to go out, and you keep everything flushing, you keep everything good, your PT Cruiser, your Neon, or whatever you drive will go for miles on end. Again, thanks for watching, and take care.